If you want to learn about remarketing in Google Ads, you have come to the right place. My name is Devin Thomas and I'm from Neptune Design. And what we do here is we teach you how to become a digital marketing master. Now, I've had requests for remarketing tutorials a lot on my YouTube channel, and I really wanted to create one, but I also wanted to make one that was different. I wanted a comprehensive guide for beginners because I know a lot of you are very shy and you feel like this is going to be difficult to do, and it's really not that difficult. So I just wanted to break it down step by step for you. So here's what we're going to be covering in this video. I am going to be talking about what exactly a remarketing ad campaign is in Google Ads and if it's even worth it, if it's effective. Then I'm going to be talking about how to set one up, and I'm going to show you how to set one up. By the way, for those of you who are impatient and you just want to see one set up, I'm going to leave a link in the comment section below, like a timestamp. You can just fast forward the video and you can just start creating your campaigns, because I know some of you guys just want to get on with it. No problem. Now, I'm also going to be showing you how to build an audience for your remarketing campaigns in Google Ads. And then I'm going to be covering two of the commonly asked questions that I see out there. So I'm going to be covering how much should you actually be spending on your Google Ads remarketing campaigns. And another question that I get asked, are there any specific strategies that will help you basically increase your performance or help get a better return on ad spend when it comes to Google Ads remarketing campaigns? So it's going to be quite a packed video, and I hope you keep watching and let's get on with it. If you're excited, give me a hell yes in the comment section below. So let's get into exactly what remarketing ads are. Like, what is all the fuss about remarketing ads? Well, remarketing ads basically help you to remarket to people who have already visited your website. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever been on a website, maybe buying a product or a service, just shopping around on the internet, and then you left the website and all of the sudden, for some reason, you saw ads for that same product or service all over the internet? When you went onto Facebook, when you went onto a different website, when you went onto a news website, when you went onto a blog article, you start seeing that product everywhere. That's because they are watching you. Okay, they're not really watching you, but what they are doing is they're running remarketing campaigns, and they're basically trying to get you to come back to the website so that you can look at the product or service again, so that you might change your mind and actually buy that product or service. Now, this is the best thing about remarketing campaigns. All they do is take the people who have visited your website or your app, and they basically just bring them back again. So that's what all the fancy jargon and mumbo jumbo is about. That's what remarketing is. And you'll hear me use the terms remarketing and retargeting interchangeably during the course of this video. Don't worry, they are more or less the exact same thing. Some people might be technical and they might want to break them down further, but whenever you hear somebody talking about remarketing or retargeting ads, they're basically talking about the same types of ads. So now you know exactly what remarketing ads are. So what's all the fuss about remarketing campaigns? I mean, it sounds kind of simple. You try to sell to someone and you bring them back to the website and you try to sell it to them again. So is it really that effective? Is it really going to make that much of a difference to your store, to your website? Are they really going to convert this time around? Well, I've got a couple of specs to share with you, a couple of stats to share with you. Did you know that the average Google Ads campaign only converts about 3.25% of the time? 3.25% of the time, your normal Google Ads campaign will convert. And did you know that by contrast, on a remarketing campaign, the average person is 43% more likely to convert? And let's look at why that is. When you go onto a website for the first time, lots of people don't know the brand. They're not sure if they trust the product. They're not sure if they trust the reviews. However, when you keep on seeing the same product advertised to you again and again and again, it starts to breed a familiarity. It starts to get you getting used to the brand, and it also helps you understand that, oh, okay, it starts creating this part of your brain where you start becoming cognizant of it. So the best thing about remarketing campaigns is they occupy that mental real estate in the buyer's mind, and they keep on reminding them about your product or your service, and it keeps on bringing them back. So that's why the average person, only 3.25% on a Google Ads campaign, but far more likely on a retargeting campaign. Why? Because there's much more familiarity once you've seen an ad 2 times or 3 times, or once you've been on a website more than once. And it gets better. Did you also know that the click-through rate on remarketing campaigns is up to 10 times higher than normal Google Ads campaigns? So if that doesn't get you excited about remarketing campaigns, then I don't know what else will. But for sure, when I found about this, I was like, yes, remarketing is exactly what I need to do for my business to grow my sales.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up a remarketing campaign. Now, you need to have Google Analytics and you need to have a Google Ads account. And you need to also be sure that your Google Analytics is actually working and that it is counting the visitors that are coming through. So you need to see some stats here from the visitors that have been visiting on your website. If you see 000, or if you go over the past 28 days and you see nothing at all, that means your Google Analytics is not connected. And in that case, I suggest you either get in touch with a developer, or there's lots of helpful videos on YouTube that's going to help you out with that. But you need to make sure that your Google Analytics is set up and that you basically have a Google Ads account. So Google Analytics is very cool. It allows you to see all of the data from everyone who's ever visited your website. It allows you to see where they come from. It allows you to see how they interacted with your website. Now, why we're interested in Google Analytics is this is where our actual visitor data is going to come from. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this visitor data and we're going to port it all the way over onto Google Ads. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that Google Analytics is linked to Google Ads. And to do that, I want you to go over to your admin section. Once you go over to your admin section, I want you to look in this middle column and you will see something that says Google Ads linking. I want you to click on that and you'll probably have nothing over here, but I've already connected mine. But click on the red button to add a new link group, okay? And it's going to give you a list of all your Google Ads accounts. Now you're simply going to click on an account that you have. So I'm going to click on this one and you're going to click on continue. After that, I want you to name this link configuration. You can give it whatever name you want. It's not really going to cause any mess up if you don't remember the name. So just make sure you name it something that you know what it means, something rememberable. And after that, I want you to click on this little slider here that says all website data. Why? Because we want to import all of our website data. And after that, you are going to click on link accounts. Okay. Once you do that, you should basically get a notification in your Gmail or in your normal email, whatever your admin email is from your Google Ads, just to say that, oh, this Google Analytics account basically wants to connect with your Google Ads account. Now, I am aware that mine is not going through, but the reason why it's not going through is because I don't want it to. I'm already connected. Okay, so after that's done and dusted, the next thing I need you to do is I need you to make sure that you are actually collecting data. So I want you to go to tracking info and I want you to click on data collection. Okay. And basically you have to enable these settings to allow you to basically remarket. So you need to turn this on and you need to turn your advertising reporting features on as well. And then you can save underneath. Okay. And it'll say success once it's successfully saved. So we've basically enabled everything on our Google Analytics account that allows us to port the data over. The next thing that we need to do is we need to create an audience, which is basically the people who have visited our website, and that's going to be the audience that we port into our Google Ads account. So basically, whoever's visited our website, we now have to send that visitor data over. So we've linked the account, we've enabled remarketing, and now what we're doing is we are gathering the visitor data. So I want you to go over to the section that says audience definition. Okay. And as you can see here, there's a whole bunch of audiences that I've created, but I'll create another one for you, okay? I'm going to create a new audience and I am going to click and I am going to call this remarketing audience YouTube explainer, okay? So that's going to be my audience name. Now I need to define that audience, okay? So the audience source would be all of my website data, and I am going to click on new users, okay? And then I am going to say anyone who has visited my website for the past 30 days, I want Google Analytics to group them in this audience, okay? Now, this does not mean that every 30 days you have to go back in and create a new audience and create a new audience. What it'll do is it'll just take it from the latest day and it'll count back 30 days, and that's basically your audience. So don't worry about going in here again. In fact, this is probably the last time that you'll have to go into Google Analytics to set this up. Okay. So it's a new visitor, somebody who's visited, and it should give you a type of count to tell you how many people have visited your website over the past 30 days. Now, well, over the past 7 days, and in general, we're going to go over the past 30 days. Now, if you want your duration to be longer, you can set it longer, but I wouldn't advise that. And I'm going to get to that piece when I get to a later section of the video. But you want your leads to be as fresh as possible. You want the people who you're remarketing to actually still be interested in your product or service. You don't want to be remarketing to people who have visited your website 180 days ago, unless you have a very long buying cycle. And in general, people don't have that sort of a length of a buying cycle when they're purchasing something. So 30 days is more than enough. Okay. Then I'm going to say next step. And after that, did I name yep, I named them already. So all of that is done. And then I need to choose a destination. Now, as you can see over here, I've got my Google Ads accounts. And basically, I've got my Google Analytics accounts. And I'm going to tell it to publish it to both destinations. Okay, my Google Ads account and my Google Analytics accounts, and you'll see they pop up here. And as soon as I click publish, doom doom doom, you'll see it automatically asks me if I want to create a remarketing campaign in Google Ads. Now, you can create a campaign this way, but I still want to show you where our audience went. So we're not going to go the easy way, but if for you guys who just want to create a remarketing campaign, there you go. Click on that button and then you're off to the races. You've already started creating a remarketing campaign in Google Ads. Now, that audience that I made, where exactly does that audience go? So if I go to overview, if I go over to tools, by the way, I am using Google Ads in expert mode. If you don't know how to switch to expert mode, you just simply click on settings, switch to expert mode, and you'll flip out to the screen and everything will be detailed as you can see here. So the next thing I want to do is I want to click on tools, and then I want you to click on audience manager. And once you click on audience manager over there, you will see the audience that we've just created. Now, I do this a lot because I'm usually training or consulting with people. So let's just go through and look for it. There we go. Remarketing audience for YouTube explainer. And the type of audience is website visitors. Membership status is open, which basically means it's busy collecting data. And you'll see here it says too small to serve, too small to serve, too small to serve, too small to serve. That's fine because basically it's going to populate. So if you give it 24 to 48 hours, that should be enough time for it to build up the audience and basically populate. Now, this is a good time for us to talk about audience sizes. Now, certain campaigns that you're trying to run, remarketing campaigns or retargeting campaigns, they need certain audience sizes. And here are the audience requirements. So if your website visitors or if your website doesn't get as many as these visitors on a monthly basis or over the period of 30 days, then those audiences are going to be too small and you're not going to be able to run remarketing campaigns. So here are the sizes that you need to be in order to run certain campaigns. Okay, so we are now going to start creating our remarketing campaign. And the cool thing about it is the process is more or less the same, whether you're doing YouTube remarketing, whether you're doing Google search ads remarketing, or whether you're doing display ads remarketing. Okay, so for any of you who see this dashboard and it doesn't look like mine, you can just switch over to expert mode. When you click on settings, it'll say switch over to expert mode. Okay, next thing I want you to do is click on the new campaign button. I want you to select your goal. Now, most of you are going to be falling in the sales or leads category, so I'm going to say sales. Now, a search campaign is your normal search campaign that shows up on Google whenever somebody types in a text search. Your display campaign, that's what we want to go after because we are going to have our ads showing on different websites to bring people back to our website. So I'm going to select display campaigns, but you can also run remarketing campaigns for most of these campaign types. But more often than not, people want display remarketing campaigns. After that, I'm going to say standard display campaign, and then I'm going to put my website name. Almost forgot my website name. And then I'm going to say continue. So the next thing that you want to do is run through your settings. Now, you would say that you want your normal location or whatever your selling location is. That does not change. Languages, your normal language, and obviously bidding settings. Now, for this campaign, I want to focus on conversions. Now, if you don't have much conversion data, I would suggest that you go for manual CPC with no enhanced CPC. If you have 7 or more conversions, I suggest that you switch on the enhanced CPC settings. If you have a lot of conversion data, you are basically free to choose whichever conversion strategy makes sense. Maybe target CPA or target ROAS, but that's if you have more than 30 conversions in the past 30 days. I tend to start off with manual CPC for most of my campaigns simply because I want to control how much I pay per click. Okay. And now I'm going to choose my daily budget and I'm going to put my daily budget at $100 a day. Okay. Moving on, I need to now choose an audience. Now, this is what separates a normal display campaign from a remarketing campaign. With a normal display campaign, I want to select all of these people. Why? Because these are people floating out there on the internet and they might be interested in my product or service. Okay. But with remarketing or retargeting campaigns, we already know who our audience is. They are the people who came to our website already. So we have a predefined audience for that set up already, which we imported from Google Analytics. So I'm now going to click on browse. I'm going to click on how have they interacted with our business or your business. And then I am going to find my audience and it's going to be under website visitors and it's going to be here under Remarketing Audience YouTube Explainer. So I've selected my audience. As you can see, it says size of 0. That's just because the audience hasn't populated yet. And like I said, in about 48 hours, it should populate and you should see if your audience size is big enough or not. Now, a lot of people also say, yeah, but Devon, there's already something here that says all visitors Google Ads. Why don't I just select that? Well, the all visitors Google Ads audience is basically an audience that's created for you by Google Ads, but the members of that audience might not be recent. So, for example, if somebody visited your website 180 days ago, do you really want to waste money marketing or remarketing to that person? Because chances are that person has already bought and already doesn't have the urgency to purchase. The reason why we set up our remarketing campaign like it was is because it focuses only on people who visited our websites for the last 30 days, so you know they might still be looking and they might still be warm leads. They might still be very much interested in your products or services. And that's why we go with our own custom audience. However, if you find that your custom audience is extremely tiny and you need to expand it, then I would suggest that you tick this as well. Go for all visitors Google Ads and combine it with your remarketing audience that you imported. However, if you're getting thousands and thousands of visitors already and you just want remarketing set up, then this should be the best way to go. I don't advise going this way. I don't like it when you go this way. I would much rather prefer that you wait to build up your audience properly or work on your marketing so you can get more visitors to your audience so that you can do a proper remarketing campaign. Okay. Now, demographics. We don't actually need to bother with demographics. The reason being why is we our demographics will become the demographics of whoever's visited our website before. So it's kind of like a mirror of who's visited. It's the same people, so we don't have to be picky unless we know that only a certain demographic is going to buy. But generally speaking, if they clicked on your ad once, went through your website, they would be the type of person who's interested in your product or service. So I must say this again, we're not looking for new people, new buyers. We are simply remarketing to people who have already visited our website. Okay, which moves us on to targeting expansion. When we do targeting expansion, we basically increase the size of our remarketing audience by adding people who have similar traits to our audience. So usually if your audience size is big enough, you switch this off. If you want similar people to your real marketing audience and you want to expand that reach a little bit more, you can broaden it. But obviously not too much because then you would just be doing a standard display campaign and it would defeat the campaign of it would defeat the point rather of a remarketing campaign. So I am going to leave this off because I only want to focus on the people who are in my audience. And as you can see, the next thing here is ad group. So I'm just going to say 1,000. That's fine. Oh, wait. This is bid. I can't have it at 1,000. I'm just going to say about 15 Rand. That's fine. Okay, which is about $1. So the next thing we need to do is create our ads. Now, there's two ways to do this. You can either create ads for every single size and have them as your display ads. So if you do that and you say upload display ads, it is going to give you your sizes. Then you can create little JPEG images for all of these specific sizes. I recommend more than 8. If you create more than 8, you should be fine. You should cover most of the ad slots. But yeah, that's if you want to do it that way. An easier way to do it is to just do a responsive display ad. And responsive display ad is literally just you adding some images. I guess I better upload some images. In my download section, I just went to go pick some images of grapes. I don't know. I guess I was hungry or something, but yeah, this is what I got. So we got grapes, guys. Okay. And then you're just going to select the crop factor. So Horizontal, it's going to look like this. Square, it's going to look like this. Is what your image would look like. And you're going to add text to this image as well. Okay, so I've got my two images over there. The last thing that you want to do is you want to add headlines. Now you can add up to 5 headlines, and basically the headlines that you add are basically just going to be shown along with your image. So I'll show you an example. Um, Delicious grapes. It should generate in the preview. Um, Beautiful grapes. Guys, I don't sell fruit. I don't know what to put here. Fresh produce for your belly. There we go. And as you can see here, it's generating what it would look like on mobile. If I scroll through, these are the different sizes that your responsive display ads would generally transform itself so that it can fit. And this is what it would look like on the desktop. So all of that has been done for you just by selecting responsive display ads. And obviously, if you have a graphic designer and you want to go through the process of designing each and every ad in its specific format for the specific size, you're more than welcome to do that. Or you could go responsive if you just want to get your campaign up and running as soon as possible. And that's basically it. We're going to add headlines, one long headline, and we're going to add a description, add a business name. That's all that we want from here. And after that, we're going to click on create campaign, and that'll basically add the campaign to add group. Okay, so once you click on add to add group, you come to the screen, it'll say congratulations, your campaign is ready. And when you click on it, it will say continue to campaign. So you've basically created your first remarketing campaign in Google Ads. Now, I need to remind you that if you are going for a search campaign or YouTube ads campaign or display ads campaign, this is basically how you would set it up. The main point is just choosing audience, which is the audience that you created. It's basically a remarketing audience. That's what a remarketing campaign is.
Okay, now for the big question. How much of your money or how much of your campaign budget should you actually be spending on remarketing ads? And the short answer to this is as much as humanly possible. You want to spend as much as possible on your remarketing campaigns because they are the highest converting type of campaign. And also, when it comes to your bids, you want to put in pretty aggressive bids so that you can basically show up for those remarketing audiences again. So go aggressive when it comes to remarketing campaigns in Google Ads, purely because the evidence is there and you are going to get a much better return on advertising spend than any other type of campaign that you're running. And when you are concerned about how big your audience is, if you'll get too many clicks, guys, really, because you are running campaigns and those campaigns send a certain portion of traffic to your website, you're never going to get overwhelmed and your remarketing ads are never going to go crazy and they're not going to end up blowing your entire budget and spending all your money, purely because if you have 1,000 visitors to your website every month coming from Google Ads and you set up remarketing ads to those, the biggest possible audience that you could ever get back from your remarketing campaign is going to be 1,000 people. So Google Ads is not going to go and fetch new people or more people unless you have that set up in the targeting like I showed you, but they are not going to go fetch more people. So you can go very aggressive with your retargeting ads or your remarketing ads. Like I said, they're one or the same thing. And don't be scared to spend money on them because they do convert a lot more. And don't be scared to give them as much budget as they need because, like I said, they do convert a lot. So don't be shy when it comes to budgets. Spend, 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 and you'll get sales. Okay, so are there any strategies with remarketing in Google Ads? Now, there are quite a few, but I'll be the first to let you know that if you have a tiny audience in your Google Ads remarketing audiences, don't attempt these. If you have a very small audience, do not try and apply any of these strategies. These strategies are for people with much larger audiences and much bigger ad spend. Those are the types of guys who can play around with their remarketing audience. The first strategy is quite simple. If you're an online retailer, e-commerce store, or a drop shipper, you want to target people who are in the process of checking out or who have abandoned their carts on your website. And you want to build the audience specifically for those people to bring them back. The reason why you want to do that is those people have the most intent. They were almost to the finish line with regards to buying something from you. So those people are more likely to convert when you bring them back to your website. Likewise, if you have a blog article and you find that people who read that blog article tend to have a much higher conversion rate than the rest of your website, you want to set up your audience so that people who spend a certain duration on that page turn into a remarketing audience. And then you want to bring that remarketing audience back to the same piece of content because they might actually end up converting. Or you could bring them back to just your website. It's no problem with that either. The last thing that you can do is if you sell lots of categories of products, for example, if you sell menswear and womenwear, you can set up a remarketing campaign for each of these audiences dedicated to each of these gender groups. And what that'll do is it'll remarket the menswear to guys who were looking for clothes or people who were looking for clothes in the menswear gender. And it would also set up a separate campaign to the ladies as well, or the ladies wear gender. And what that will do is it'll give you two custom remarketing campaigns and they will both suit each type of person. Because if you set up a single remarketing campaign and someone's interested in menswear and they go back and they see ladies wear, they might not be that interested in clicking on it. So those are a couple of strategies that you can apply. Guys, I hope this helps with remarketing. If you have any more questions, put them in the comment section below. And also, if you're looking for free consulting for your Google Ads, be sure to check out our website. That's in the link in the description below. And if you know anybody who wants to learn about retargeting or remarketing, please send them this video via share and please give us a like as well. We appreciate it. Thanks. Have an awesome day and I'll see you guys next time.